Hello everybody, this is Dragonzilla here to report on Collecta's Dinosaur and Prehistoric Animal figures for 2024. So if you saw last year's Thoughts and Opinions video, you may recall me saying that the past few years haven't been that great for Collecta, but 2023 was a slight improvement, and my expectations were raised a little higher. However, now that all have been revealed, what do I think of next year's lineup? Well, let's have a look. The very first figure to be announced was the pterosaur Jarksniark. I might have butchered that one. And it was the only model to be unveiled for week 1. There were some concerns because people were thinking, are Collecta just going to be unveiling one at a time each week, so that we'll only be getting 4 figures for 2024 rather than the usual 10 or 8, but more were unveiled as time went on. Anyway, the figure itself looks nice, however the only pterosaur that I'm into is Pteranodon, so I'm not really fussed on this one. Second is the Tyrannosaurid Nanuqsaurus, which I believe will be a figure for the popular range. This was one of the Tyrannosaurs confirmed to have feathers. Some folks have been put off by the tail being posed down, however that's for supportability, but regardless I think this will be a popular one with avian fans across the world. Another one that has already won a lot of people over is the Velociraptor. It does look very nice, and I bet it'll look great with other feathered Velociraptors from Safari and Papo. I'm still deciding whether or not to order this when it's released to the public. Here we have a mini tube, which is a set of mini sauropods. Now when Collecta announced the prehistoric marine life and prehistoric animal tubes, I was very enthusiastic on those and bought them, as I'm a huge fan of miniatures, especially in the case of Godzilla Gashapons and DMD miniatures. And while these do look cute and would be perfect as juveniles, I don't think I'll be picking these up, and they're only mini copies of what Collecta have done so far. Next up is a new sauropod figure, and this one is Dreadnoughtus. This is a really big one, and no surprise because sauropods were the biggest land animals of the Mesozoic era. I would have said the Jurassic period, but sauropods lived right up to the end of the late Cretaceous 65 million years ago, and Dreadnoughtus was a real giant of the Cretaceous. I like the paint job, but I wish that the colour scheme was used for another animal. You'll see what I mean later. This was the first figure to impress me, and it is Polacanthus. Okay, admittedly, I wasn't happy to see it right away, because my first thoughts were I was hoping for a deluxe Stegosaurus. However, Polacanthus is another old favourite armoured dinosaur of mine from childhood, and this model does actually remind me of the Polacanthus from Walking with Dinosaurs, the original BBC series, not that crappy movie. And I'm wondering whether or not this figure was modelled on the Polacanthus from the series itself, but more scientifically accurate. Either way, it's a win in my book. Another win for the book is the return of Cenozoic giants, and we have one from Australia, which is the colossal wombat Diprotodon. Now the megafauna from down under are super underrated, and when Collecta or some other company do a prehistoric animal from Australia, it's usually a dinosaur, and to me at least, and in my opinion, Australian dinosaurs are impressive, but except for the names, many of them are generic looking, but with some unique features. However, having an Australian mega beast makes a nice change from the usual dinosaur, and Diprotodon is an ideal choice. The model has scratch marks, and it's got me thinking whether or not Collecta are hinting at more extinct giants from Australia to go alongside this guy, such as the marsupial lion Thylacoleo, which I bet will be the next one when 2025 is announced, or maybe hopefully, fingers crossed, for me at least, Megalania the giant ripper. And finally, here's one that is long overdue, most requested, most anticipated, and most wanted, Placerias, which was the last of the Dicynodonts to roam the earth back in the late Triassic, when the first dinosaurs were evolving and just getting started. I absolutely love the look of this model, and haven't been this hyped over a Collecta figure since Estamenosuchus and Varn from the Bandai Movie Monster series line. The mouth is depicted wide open, and it looks like it'll be a permanent pause, as I don't see any sign of jaw articulation. Unfortunately, however, I do have one criticism with the model. I'm not a fan of the paint job. I wish that he was painted green instead of Dreadnoughtus. I say this because Placerias was announced at the same time as Diprotodon and Nanuqsaurus, and they were brown too, and having 3 brown animals announced at the same time as each other is a bit too much. But except for that, yeah, it's fine. There's more that I would like to say, however I'd rather save all that for a review. So there you go, guys. Those were my thoughts and opinions for Collecta's Dinosaur and Prehistoric Animal lineup for 2024. Great choices as always. No invertebrates this time round, even though it would be nice if we got a giant sea scorpion, like maybe either Megalograptus or Pterogotus. The lineup did admittedly start off very weak, for me at least, but that's how it usually goes with Collecta. They start off with a whimper, but end on a bang, most of the time. The three animals that I'm looking forward to be getting the most are Polacanthus, Diprotodon, and definitely Placerias, despite the paint job. I have been saying that we need more Thoracids, and I'm glad to see that Collecta are still delivering on those. Even though I expect in a few years time, Safari will make figures of either Placerias or Diprotodon. They have it to Uinterferium and Estemetasuchus, well, nearly most other animals, so I expect this will happen to these guys as well. We'll just have to wait and see. Anyways, what do you think of Collecta's Dinosaur and Prehistoric Animal range for 2024? Let's have a discussion in the comments. This is Dragonzilla signing off. Take care, and I'll see you all when Collecta announce their new figures for next year in another blooming Thoughts and Opinions video! Okay, bye.